Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over my 2025 reading stats. I would love to say I loved everything I read. Unfortunately, I didn't. We're going to be looking at star ratings, page count, series, and more. If you just want a rundown of all the books I've read, please go to this time, and thank you for clicking on this video. So, in 2025, I only read 36 books, which is just over half a book per week, 15 less than last year, with an average of 3 per month. Though in reality, one month had more books to it than others. My best reading month was October, where along with a new 5-star, I also got a 4-star. And my worst reading month was August, where not only did I DNF a book, but the only 2 reads were 3-star Christmas novellas. According to Goodreads, out of the books I read, the most shelved book was The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, with 2,271,911 other people shelving it, and the least shelved, with 703 other people, was Divided Fire. I read 10,288 pages, which is roughly 285 pages per book, and just over 28 pages per day. The shortest book I read was the Under the Mistletoe novella, Cruel Winter with You, at 72 pages, and the longest book I read, at 720 pages, was a reread of European Travel for the Monstrous Gentlewoman. I read the same under 300 page books as I did 300 to 500 page books, at 17 books, while only reading 2 over 500 page books. My average rating for 2025 was 3.25. The highest rated book I've read was Dress of the Emerald Sea at a 4.32, and tied as the lowest rated at 3.28 was Better Together and The Christmas Tree Farm. This year I had 0 1-stars, which I think is great. 26 3-stars, 8 4-stars, but only 1 5-star. I also had 2 DNFs I didn't rate. In terms of genres, I read 16 romance, 11 fantasy, 7 mystery thriller, 1 science fiction dystopian, and 1 contemporary. I read 26 digital books and 10 physical books. I read more adult books than young adult at 19 to 17. Out of 38 books, I read from 32 different authors, 2 of which were DNF'd books. And out of those 30 authors, 8 I had read previously, and 22 were new to me. The books I read came out between 10 different years. 1 from the 1920s, 1 from 2014, 4 from 2016, 1 from 2018, 4 from 2020, 2 from 2021, 4 from 2022, 7 from 2023, 8 from 2024, and 4 new releases from 2025. I started this year with 47 open series and ended the year with 53 series. I read 12 standalones. I started and got caught up with, 5 series I continued in, and 1 series I didn't make any progress in but reread from. And out of the 10 series I began this year, I'm not continuing in 3 of them. Now, let's talk about some books I said I wanted to read. Between the mid-year freakout and end-of-year check-in tags, I said I wanted to read 25 different books, and I only ended up reading 1 of them, and it was the one I was already in the middle of. I did decide to no longer read 5 of the books. Now, on to a disappointment, a surprise, and my best books of the year. A really big disappointment this year was The Mary Shelley Club by Goldie Madovsky. I gave this a low 3-star. When I went into this book thinking it was gonna be a 4 or 5-star. This book had a cool premise and decent execution, but overall it felt pretty predictable and just okay for me. The characters seemed young and immature, mostly focused on parties and trivial drama, and I was hoping for something a little creepier. The ending was abrupt with lots of loose ends, almost like a mild cliffhanger, and while I actually guessed the twist, it didn't have enough space to land well. It seems set up for a sequel, though I'm not sure if there was one, I'd pick it up. I picked my surprise of the year up because I needed a short book to read in June that would cover both Buzzword challenges. Murder by Memory by Olivia Waite. I ended up giving this a welcomed 4-star. I absolutely adored this book. It's beautifully heartfelt and incredibly immersive, with thoughtful conversations about autonomy and community. I'm obsessed with this cozy adjacent sci-fi murder mystery vibe, and the world building packed into such a short novella is seriously impressive. The story is fun, though I do wish it had lasted a bit longer because I flew through it so quickly. If you're looking for a cozy mystery with queer characters and a sci-fi twist, I definitely recommend this. Now, my top 5 best books of the year. In no real order, we have the 4th in the Dream Armor series by Laurie Gilmore, The Christmas Tree Farm. Kira hates Christmas, which is unfortunate since she just bought a Christmas tree farm in a town that's too cute for its own good. Bennett is on a vacation in Dream Harbor, trying to take a break from both his life and his constant desire to fix things. But somehow fate finds Ben trapped by a blanket of snow at Kira's farm, and despite her grinchiest first impressions, with the glow of the fairy lights twinkling in the trees, and the promise of a warming hot chocolate, maybe, just maybe, these 2 lost souls will have a Christmas they'll remember forever. Next, we have my surprise of the year, Murder by Memory by Olivia Waite. Welcome to Her Majesty's most luxurious interstellar passenger liner. Room and boarder included. New bodies are graciously provided upon request. And should you desire a rest between lifetimes, your mind shall be most carefully preserved in glass in the library, shielded from every danger. Near the topmost deck of the ship, Dorothy Gentleman wakes up in a body that isn't hers, just as someone else is found murdered. As one of the ship's detectives, Dorothy usually delights in unraveling the schemes on board, but when she finds that someone is not only killing bodies, but purposely deleting minds from the library, she realizes something even more sinister is afoot. Then there is Dress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. The only life Dress has known on her island home in an emerald green ocean has been a simple one. With these simple pleasures of collecting cups brought by sailors from faraway lands and listening to stories told by her friend Charlie. But when his father takes him on a voyage to find a bride and disaster strikes, Dress must stow away on a ship and seek the sorceress of the deadly midnight sea. Amid the spore oceans where pirates bound, can Dress leave her simple life behind and make her own place, sailing a sea where a single drop of water can mean instant death? 5 years after its release, I finally read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Susan Collins, the first prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy. It is the morning of the reaping that'll kick off the 10th annual Hunger Games. In the capital, 18-year-old Snow is preparing for his one shot at glory as a mentor in the games. The once mighty house of Snow has fallen on hard times, its fate hanging on the slender chance that he will be able to outcharm, outwit, and outmaneuver his fellow students to mentor the winning tribute. The odds are against him. He's been given the humiliating assignment of mentoring the female tribute from District 12, the lowest of the low. Their fates are now completely intertwined. Inside the arena, it'll be a fight to the death. Outside the arena, Snow starts to feel for his doomed tribute and must weigh his need to follow the rules against his desire to survive no matter what it takes. Well, the other 4 are not in any order. This is in the first place this year. Unlike the year before, where the top spot was a small town with fake dating plot, this year we're changing things up with a mystery thriller by Deanna Rayborn with killers of a certain age. 4 60-year-old women have worked for an elite network of assassins for 40 years. Now their talents are considered old school, and no one appreciates what they have to offer in an age that relies more on technology than people's skills. When the foursome is sent on an all-expenses-paid vacation to mark their retirement, they're targeted by one of their own. Only the board can order the termination of field agents, and the women realize they've been marked for death. Now, to get out alive, they have to turn against their own organization, relying on experience and each other to get the job done, knowing that working together is the secret to their survival. And lastly, a quick segment called Would I Have Read This If It Weren't for Books and Lala's Buzzword Reading Challenges. With this challenge, I read 17 books, and out of those 17, I already had 9 books on my TBR and planned to read, and I would have read 4 if I had found them without this, leaving 4 I only read because of this. Out of those 17 books, I had an average rating of 3.35, which is 0.10 above my overall rating for the year. And while I had my only 2-star read because of this challenge, I also had my only 5-star read. And that's it for my 2025 rating stats. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what stat you find the most interesting. And then you can share your stats based on what you've read this year. I'd love to hear about them. If you want to continue on, or have just come from the intro, I'm gonna finish this video with a list of books I read in alphabetical order by author to give you an overview of all the books. I hope to see you next time. Goodbye. 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 What I Should Have Done. R.L. Atkinson. Dungeons and Drama. Dating and Dragons. Christy Boyce. The Christmas Tree Farm. Melody Carlson. The Mysterious Affair at Styles. Agatha Christie. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Suzanne Collins. Henry the Jailer. A.W. Exley. The Christmas Tree Farm. The Strawberry Patch Pancake House. Laurie Gilmore. The Legacies. Jessica Goodman. European Travel for the Monstrous Gentlewoman. Theodore Goss. Cruel Winter with You. Allie Hazelwood. A Quiet Life in the Country. T.E. Kinsey. Love Lies and Cherry Pie. The Sitcom Star. Jackie Lau. A Magic Steeped in Poison. Judy I. Lin. Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear. Shauna Maguire. The Mary Shelley Club. Goldie Medalski. Always the Killer, Never the Bride. Addison Moore. Elysium Girls. Kate Pentecost. But Not Too Bold. Hashe Whale. Killers of a Certain Age. Diana Rayborn. Better Together. Christina Riccio. Roping the Virgin. The Wanted Virgin. Alexa Ryan. Divided Fire. Jennifer Sanfilippo. Dress of the Emerald Sea. Brandon Sanderson. Gallant. V.E. Schwab. Scary in Love. Holly June Smith. Rebel Wing. Andrea Dang. Found in the Mountains. Grumpy in the Mountains. Yearning in the Mountains. Olivia T. Turner. Murder by Memory. Olivia Waite. House of Ivy and Sorrow. Natalie Whipple. A Discovery, Love and Other Things. Victoria Woods.